What a year for the Tennessee Volunteers. An 11-2 season is not what a lot of people expected. We had knew they had the potential to do that, and now they're looking to take a step forward. We're going to take a look at 10 guys today that will help the Volunteers reach new heights and help Josh Heupel become one of the better coaches in college football. And you're looking at a defensive side of the ball that plays maybe the biggest role in that. Keenan PILI comes in from BYU, and he'll play a big role for this defense that loses Jeremy Banks. You return a little bit of talent at the linebacker position, but getting a guy like Keenan Pili to come in is huge. 191 tackles in his career. The defense, like I said, is the biggest thing that will keep Tennessee from getting to new heights. Being a team like Georgia, maybe still not on the radar. Maybe it is. I don't really know. One of those things we didn't expect last year was them beating Alabama, and obviously we saw there's a little bit of a gap between Georgia and Tennessee. But this is a team that is building on a ton of momentum. They are building off of last year, and they are hoping to take this program to another level. The defense is the biggest thing holding them back from that. So if the defense takes a step forward, then I really like what they could do. The front seven was fairly disruptive last year. You look at they finished 42nd in sacks. It was okay, but 14 tackles for loss was a good thing for this defense, a defense that again, if they can take a step forward and the offense continues doing what it's doing, watch out for Tennessee. Tyler Barron is another player that comes back in that group at defensive end, 6'5", 260 pounds. The senior from Knoxville had an okay season, but you saw the flashes in his game. You saw the potential of what he could be, and that's huge for a defense that needs quite a bit of help in certain areas. It's just the front seven could do a little bit more maybe to help out the back end. So we'll see what happens there, but I like the potential that they have. Another guy is Roman Harrison. I really like what he could do as well. He and Tyler Barron could be two of the best ends in college football if they play to their potential. And we've seen them do it. We've seen them do it consistently. We've seen them play at a high level at times. It's just a matter of doing that on a regular basis because you're going to face a ton of talent in the SEC. You're going to face a ton of tackle talent in the SEC. If you're able to be disruptive to affect game plans and make teams change what they're doing, you're going to give your secondary a little bit extra time to relax or just give them peace of mind knowing that they don't have to cover for super long because Tennessee finished 127th in passing last year. So that's something that needs to get fixed. That's something that is obviously a concern, especially with a defense that finished 92nd in yards allowed per game. So finding ways to give up less yards and keep teams off the scoreboard would be the biggest thing. JAYLEN McCOLLOUGH comes back at safety, though. This is a secondary that has talent. I think that from everything that I've heard and read in the offseason, the secondary has the talent there. And Tennessee's done a good job of recruiting since Heupel arrived, which is kind of a surprising thing given what he did at UCF. But it's a matter of translating that to the field. The secondary is probably the biggest concern if you had to circle one group. It's probably the secondary. And if they're going to face quite a bit of talent. So if you're not ready for it, it's going to hurt you quite a bit if your secondary is not ready to play. If your secondary can't handle what it's doing, if it can't handle the amount of talent they're playing, the offenses that they'll face, the explosive weapons that are in the SEC, that's going to be something that'll hurt them quite a bit. This offense will score points. That is a given. Tennessee knows how to score points. They know how to disrupt a defense's game plan. Josh Heupel is a great offensive coach, and that will continue even with some of the players they lost. You lose a talent like Jalen Hyatt, you lose a talent like Cedric Tillman, that should push a lot of programs back. But Tennessee should be just fine. It might not be a two-man approach this year, but it will be a group that is full of talent. Now, who you want to include in this list is obviously the biggest question. Ramel Keaton, to me, has the potential to be an explosive weapon, a big time playmaker, and have a breakout season for Tennessee. Another guy you could put on this list that I didn't is Dante Thornton, the transfer from Oregon. You have two big time playmakers in Keaton and Thornton, and it's just a matter of finding them the football. And I think with the talent you have returning a quarterback, that should not be a problem. There should be no question about how do you get your players the football. Now, whether you're doing deep routes, intermediate routes, short routes, we'll talk about the accuracy and whatnot in a little bit. But a talented player like Ramel Keaton will be a big time factor because now you have it's almost like yes, you do lose Jalen Hyatt, you do lose Cedric Tillman, but with the talent you have behind them, you now open up a new realm of possibilities for guys that just didn't get a ton of opportunities in 2022. So it's almost like you shouldn't be worried because you have the amount of talent that you do. So really, it's I don't have too many concerns about this passing attack. I think they'll be just fine. If you wanted to, I guess, pick on one group, if in terms of like the group that didn't keep up, I don't even know if I want to say that. The running back group, Tennessee finished 26th in the country in rushing, which is like technically slouching compared to the passing attack. The passing attack that finished fifth in the country, but this is still a really talented group. So if I guess if you're going to find a knock on the offense is the rushing attack, but if you're still almost a top 25 rushing attack, I don't really know what there's to complain about. Offensive line play maybe is going to be the biggest concern, but a guy like Jabari Small gives you one part of a two-headed monster at running back. And again, everybody knows the passing attack, they know the quarterbacks, they know the wide receivers. It's just the rushing attack just flies under the radar so much because of that passing attack being so good. Maybe this is a year that the rushing attack has to take a step forward and be more reliable. Maybe it's because Maybe it's because Joe Milton struggles. Maybe it's because the offensive line play can't protect the quarterback for too long. Although in this system, that really shouldn't be an issue. So Jabari Small could have a big year 734 yards, 13 touchdowns last year. And he is back to give this group once again, a solid rushing attack. Jalen Wright is the other part of that two-part group and 875 yards, 10 touchdowns last year, averaged 6 yards per carry, efficient with the football in his hands. That's going to be a huge thing because Tennessee wants to move the ball as fast as possible, and you're not going to be able to do much if you can't pick up good yards on the ground. The passing attack also needs a rushing attack to be good because if you can't run the football, nobody's going to back away and let you throw it. They're just going to, it's be scared of you throwing it. You have to be able to make people respect the rushing attack. You have to be able to make people think that you're going to at least run the football because then you can open things up for this offense. Even with the spacing they have, running the football is still essential. Also, it should be easier with the amount of space that you have. So running the football should be fairly easy. The defense, like I said, is going to be the biggest part of this team because of their ability to take a step forward. If they even improve slightly in the power ratings, this will be a much better team, a team that can compete with Georgia in the SEC East. Aaron Beasley comes back after a solid year, 76 tackles, 13 tackles for loss. You lose a talent like Jeremy Banks, that hurts, but Beasley coming back helps a ton. You get Keenan Peely. I really like this defense in terms of talent. It's just a matter of playing consistently. So if you're able to do that, this is really good. I mean, Tennessee was really good at stopping the run last year. They finished 21st in the country. So that's something that they can build on. If they're finding ways to slow down the passing attacks they face, then again, this group will take a step forward. But it's really the offense that everyone expects to carry the team, and for good reason. Brew McCoy is also back, 667 yards, 4 touchdowns. Could have an even bigger year. Maybe not as explosive of a threat as Dante Thornton or Mel Keaton, but still a player that can have a big year, still a player that can be a big threat. It's just a matter of finding him the football. There's so many options. There's only so many touches to go around. So finding ways to get open, finding ways to be reliable will be the biggest thing for anybody that's looking for touches, that's looking to take a step forward. Guys like Brew McCoy have been a proven playmaker for the Tennessee Volunteers the last year. So now they have to do it for a new quarterback. Joe Milton, everybody knows Joe Milton is one of the most talented quarterbacks in college football. His arm talent is freakish. His ability to throw 60-yard passes with ease is unreal. You can go up and down the list of things that Joe Milton can do in terms of throwing the football a country mile. It just comes down to the touch. That's going to be the one thing we talk about all year, and it's easy to see why. His time at Michigan and even last year at Tennessee, The question was, can he throw a changeup with his fastball? Because if you throw fastballs all the time, that's fine, but eventually teams are just going to expect that you're throwing it deep or that you're trying to throw a rocket, and they can plan accordingly. So if you're able to find a little bit of touch, a little bit of an intermediate pass game where you can throw over the middle, maybe throw over coverage, and not just rely on your ability to throw deep, that's still going to happen. But be able to throw passes that people aren't expecting will be the biggest thing for Joe Milton and Tennessee's success. Hendon Hooker was really good for Tennessee, not because he was the most talented player, not because he had the strongest arm, but he was someone that honestly was perfect for this system because he made smart decisions. He knew how to make throws and he made a lot of good throws. He does not have the arm strength that Joe Milton does, but he was a much better passer than Joe Milton because he was able to, one, make those smart decisions. That's another thing with Joe Milton that I have to do, but also to be able to throw those intermediate routes, throw over coverage, that kind of stuff. That's going to be the biggest thing that Josh Heupel needs to do is find ways to get Joe Milton in successful positions, find ways to elevate his draft stock by throwing intermediate passes, by throwing, again, adding that changeup to the fastball. If you're able to do that, if the defense is able to take a step forward, Tennessee is a terrifying team to play this year.